My name is William Cross. Talk about concrete pumping and the early days of pumping. From my recollection, my brother came home one day and said, I'm going to go and start a business. Found this concrete pump, which, in those days, when you talk to a superintendent on a job site and tell him you want to pump concrete, he would say, what? How are you going to do that? And they were lost as to the concept of pouring plastic concrete, or concrete in its plastic state. But anyway, in the beginning, my brother sold his hot rod he'd worked on and built and scraped together what money he could, and he bought this $14,000 Whiteman P40, a little gasoline engine on it, and little 4-inch cylinders, and was rated at 40 yards an hour. But as time progressed, I think the first year we had ended up buying about 6 machines in the first year. That's how fast we were growing.
What year was that?
And that was in 65, 66, in that era.
And what was your brother's name?
Charles Cross. His close friends called him Bud. That's the only thing I knew him by my whole life was Bud. But he had a lot of friends and made a lot of friends everywhere he went. And in the early days, we didn't have boom trucks. There was no such thing as a boom truck. We pumped for probably 4 or 5 years before anybody even come up with a boom truck. And in them days, the first boom trucks were like the Thompson 640s with the manually put the boom together, and it would go up and down and right and left, but it wouldn't articulate or come back towards itself. So but it was a big advantage for pouring something up on a deck to get up there, but it just took forever to bolt and pin everything together for that 4-inch boom to go up there. And concrete people didn't know much about mix designs. They really didn't, because when they order concrete, a lot of times the gap grading would prevent you from pumping it. It would plug up, and the misery we went through with cleaning out when they'd send a load of slag that wasn't soaked. And those were the days. You get that big heavy bell you take off the back of a Thompson, it would fall on your feet. You'd be all bruised from buckling it up. But, we came a long way, and Whiteman came along with their better line, the P80s and the P100s, and they were beginning to develop a boom truck. And about the time Whiteman got strong with boom trucks, and even their booms, they would unfold, and you would only have like one articulating section. And they graduated to aluminum booms, which would give them out 100 foot. And they were still with that one unfold, and then you had a simple tip section articulation. And they were king of the hill when Schwing hit the streets. When Schwing come to this country, we were the very first people that bought a Schwing. We went to Germany, to the factory. I was quite impressed with Schwing. But while we're at the factory talking to them about buying a concrete pump, out front of the factory, they're crane and bucketing concrete into the foundations of the Schwing building. But we made several trips to Schwing in Germany. In one of them, we run into Steve Murley out there. He was buying, this was years later, he was buying some 42s and mounting them on American trucks, which up to that point, we only could get them on Mercedes and Magaris and, German trucks. And the Germans are very smart people. They had some really good machinery. That's really what kicked their butt in the pumping industry. Whiteman had good machines, but there were so many moving parts that we'd work all day pumping concrete and work all night working on the machines that were broken. There's moving parts, too many moving parts. And I think that although they did a good job, they were just too high maintenance. That's what kicked their butt.